My name is Jeff Bray and I'm the CEO of the Downtown Victoria Business Association. Today I want to take an opportunity to talk about everyone's favorite topic, which is parking. The frustrations, the narrative, but also to share some facts and actually some solutions that exist that really hopefully will change people's minds around parking and encourage people to continue to support local and support our wonderful downtown, which is the envy of most of the rest of our country. Sometimes people ask, who is the Downtown Victoria Business Association? We're a business-led nonprofit with over 1,700 businesses in the downtown core who are our members, and we work on, marketing downtown, supporting events, raising issues on behalf of our members, and really working to make downtown as vibrant and as successful and inclusive as possible. We certainly hear from our members, a couple of sort of common issues that are raised by their customers. One is sometimes frustration with finding parking within the downtown core, and another is the drivability of downtown, being able to navigate, whether it's one-way streets, whether it's bike lane advanced lights, that sometimes customers find it a little frustrating driving downtown, and that's certainly what we hear from our members. Well, there are over 7,000 parking spots in the downtown core, and whether that's parkades, whether that's surface parking lots, whether that's street parking. So there is a lot of parking throughout the downtown core. I think one of the frustrations is sometimes people are heading to a particular store or to a particular office and are hoping to find parking within that same block, and when they don't find it, sometimes they're a little frustrated. We certainly like to think of downtown like one thinks of a mall or Costco, that there's lots of parking available and that anywhere you park, you're within 2 blocks of your destination, which is no different than when one goes to a mall or one goes to that big Costco parking lot. So we certainly think there are some strategies where people can actually efficiently find their parking within a couple of blocks of where their destination is every single time they come downtown. There are a number of ways in which people can plan their trips even as they're making their way downtown. The city has recently introduced real-time parking information on their website that shows available spots in real time in the 5 city parkades. Which is 2,000 parking spots right there. So people can determine which parkade has space and head right to it right away. Also, the DVBA has a parking page where we have all of the parkades listed, surface lots. So again, people can have a quick look of where it is they're wanting to go and then pick a lot close to that. The city will shortly be installing new signage in the city parkades, very large, that will also provide that easy to see visibility on how many parking spots are available, how many 1-hour free parking spots are available, as well as how many disabled parking spots are available in large signage. Again, very helpful for people as they're approaching downtown to find that available parking quickly. Certainly we hear people grumble about the price of parking, and nobody likes to pay for parking. The fact is that when you are a desirable place and you only have a finite amount of parking, that is one of the tools you use to make sure that people have access to parking in a reasonable fashion. But when you actually look at what Victorians pay for parking versus other parts of the country, we're actually doing extremely well. For example, we pay on average $3.50 an hour for parking. Vancouver is over $4.50 an hour parking. Calgary is over $8 an hour parking. Toronto is over $13 an hour parking. So when we start to look across the country, we realize that we actually are well below the average for a major urban center. And we think that that's a fine balance between making sure that we have movement of people and opportunities for parking, while also ensuring that we're not charging so much that it becomes a deterrent for people to come downtown. Well, given that we are a nonprofit whose members are the businesses in downtown, this is one of the issues that our members talk to us a lot about, and so we spend a lot of time coming up with solutions and advocating for a variety of ways to manage parking. Certainly a couple of them that we talk about very frequently is reminding all of those who are involved with planning and development around the city that we are a regional downtown, and that people come here from Souk, from Sydney, and everywhere in between, not to mention tourists, and we always have to maintain an inventory of parking for those individuals. They will be coming in private vehicles or vans, those types of things. So we need to maintain parking. In fact, we are advocating for an additional parkade in the downtown core. We think the demand is there, whether it's gas vehicles or electric vehicles. We're a growing region. We're one of the top cities in the world for tourists. We're going to need to make sure that we have the parking available, because if people can't park, it isn't that they're going to necessarily choose alternative modes of transit. They just won't come. So we have to maintain that balance of making sure we have active mobility, that we invest in transit, but also that we recognize that in a growing region, the private vehicle is still going to be a major source of transportation. So we're advocating for more parking and really improving the drivability in downtown so that people can travel quickly and easily, both visitors, but also those that are providing services or delivering goods as well. Certainly, anytime you're combating a narrative that's out there that actually will help people make decisions either in a good way or in a bad way can be concerning when it's a negative narrative. So when people say there's no parking downtown, that can actually have people decide we're not even going to try. And so they miss out on the culture and the arts, the unique shops. And they also miss out on the fact that actually there is parking available. In fact, on-street parking in the city of Victoria that's managed by the city, turns over on an average every 47 minutes. So there's a huge amount of turnover of spaces. And on any given day in the city parkades, there's between 5 and 20% vacancy at any given point in time. And so people thinking there's no parking are missing out on the fact that actually there is parking. 7,000 parking spots is a lot. We think we need more, but certainly there's a lot of parking. But if people are convinced that there's no parking, they simply won't come. And that hurts our businesses, that hurts the vibrancy, that hurts the economy. So, we're trying to just make sure people have the facts about parking and understand there's a lot of tools to help with that whole area. Well, certainly, the City of Victoria that manages, a significant amount of the parking downtown have also heard the frustrations. They've heard them from us, they've heard them from our members and from the public. And so we're very supportive of some of the tools they've brought in. They have on their website real-time parking information so that people can see where the parking is in the lots in downtown and go directly to those lots. The city actually has a very good parking app. Most people have the phone now. And that parking app is very easy to use. I mean, even I can use it. It's very easy to use, but it has a couple of cool features. One of which is that you pay for an hour of parking. You're off doing some shopping or having a lunch with somebody, realize you're going a bit over. You can just add more parking on your phone right there, avoiding a ticket. But the other great feature is, let's say you go pay for an hour, and whatever you're doing, you get finished in half an hour, you can actually get a refund for that unused half hour on your parking. So it really is a way of mitigating the costs of parking. You can pay with confidence, you can add with confidence. That's a great tool. And again, the city, I think, is looking to augment some of these tools. For instance, the pay stations are going to be changed very shortly, and those pay stations will have tap technology. A lot of people are frustrated that their credit cards don't work in the pay machines. Well, now it'll have tap technology. Shortly, the parkades will have very large signage that show parking availability in each parkade. So as you're driving along, you can see very clearly in absolute real time what's available. So, certainly the city is looking to make those sorts of innovations to, again, make parking an easier, less traumatic issue, and really encourage people to continue to visit downtown. Each community sort of has their own idiosyncrasies on various things, and Greater Victorians have always had concerns around parkades, and certainly that's something we hear, that people don't necessarily like using parkades. Well, the city's heard the same thing, and they've instituted a number of things in their parkades. One is that most parkades have security now, and that's on-site security, and people may not realize it because there aren't really any incidents happening in the downtown parkades. They also have, for people who want an escort to their car, they have a security will escort you to your car. And I really think that with the attention that the city is paying and the private lots pay, parkades are fine places now. They're clean. Certainly the private lots and the city have worked hard, to make those parkades, feel safe, having security, having somebody escort you to your car. So really trying to address those concerns. And again, I would challenge Greater Victorians. And when's the last time you've heard of any incident in a parkade? So I do think it's time for us to recognize that cities around the world use parkades, and Greater Victorians, we should embrace them as well. One of the sort of common complaints that we've heard, for several years is, the parking issue is because of the bike lanes, and bike lanes were a contentious issue. They still are, but in fact, very few parking spots were actually lost to bike lanes. They were moved, but they weren't lost. And so we know that having bike lanes, transit, are important parts of getting people in and around our downtown. And what we're sort of talking to the City of Victoria about is not whether we should have bike lanes or not, but really improve the flow of traffic so that people can navigate around downtown quicker. And sometimes the frustration is bikes have longer green lights than cars is a common thing we hear. And we think that there is some work the city can do to just modify these things a little bit. But we feel that our customers are coming here on bike. Our employees and our members' employees are coming here on bike. So it isn't about whether we should have bike lanes or not. Again, it is recognizing that as a regional downtown, we need to make sure that all modes of transit can get in and around downtown efficiently, and that includes bikes. And certainly, we are calling on the city to look seriously at an additional parkade within the downtown core, because we think that, again, will really help our small and medium-sized businesses. We certainly heard from members whenever there's parking policy changes by the city. We certainly hear from our members. And two of the more recent ones that were somewhat controversial. One was pay parking on the streets on Sundays, which previously had been free, and then more recently the addition of 8 to 9 a.m. parking and 6 to 8 p.m. parking. And certainly we've heard from our members, and certainly we've had lots of conversations with the city. It wasn't necessarily something that we were advocating for, but we know that these are complicated issues. And for instance, Sunday pay parking, we heard from some members who said, my gosh, that's going to send people away from downtown. We heard from others saying it's great because the same people park all day in front of our street on Sundays, and our customers never get a chance to park in front of our store or even on the block. So, there were nuances on that particular situation. And on the 6 to 8 p.m. parking in particular, we've certainly heard from people who say that can be a deterrent for people coming downtown. Both customers, but also those in the service industry who work later shifts and have to drive in order to be able to work. And those are very fair issues. But we also know that the city has directed some of that additional parking revenue back into downtown, that's paying for infrastructure, that's paying for programming that benefits our downtown. So, it's something we continue to hear from our members and raise with the city and work with the city on. And I'm sure there'll be a policy change sometime in the future that will also be controversial. And we will continue to represent our members' views and make sure we work with the city to try to make the best parking policies possible. For any information around parking in downtown or our parking promotion, visit our website at dvba.ca/parking.